Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Beyond the Case, which is a podcast where global leaders from Harvard Business School's OPM community join in a personal capacity and share the real decisions, failures, and mental models that go behind building enduring companies. My guest today is Jaber Abdul Wahab. Hey, Jaber, how are you?
Hi, Sohan. How are you? I'm doing good. How are things?
Everything's very well. Do you want to introduce yourself, your company, and just tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, I'll try my best. I'm a second generation from the business family. The group is called Bridgeway. We started in 1974 as a trading company, and then in 90s and 2000s, we diversified into multi industries. I joined the business after doing an internship for a company in 2004. I'm basically a mechanical engineer by education, and nowhere close to it with what I do. So that's another reason why I joined OPM. And after doing a little bit of multiple small short courses from different you know executive programs. This is a very gist of what I mean. We are into industries like logistics, education, automobile dealership, trading. When we trading and distribution, one of the specialties is that we do very specialized medical equipments. We also do a lot of real estate, management. We manage buildings, we develop buildings. So that's one portfolio. We are also into agriculture. We grow tea, coffee, cardamom. So these are the few industries that we are into. I'm just being very short and just. So, and if you want to dig deeper in any of these, let me know.
Absolutely. Many of these industries sound related, but a lot of them are not related at all. So I'm curious how that expansion occurred. Was it a conscious decision on your company's part and the leadership's part, or were there opportunities that presented and were too good to pass on?
I think none of them are interrelated. Everything is very unique in its way. I think in 90s, there was a kind of a thought process from the founder. That's my father. He wanted to diversify into multiple industries because his thought process was that the company that he was growing in 80s and 90s, he felt that that industry would not last, or that particular company or that particular sector would not last in that particular geographical area. So he diversified into multiple things. He acted like a startup incubator in these. He also invested in few companies which are growing also, but most of these companies were startups. So it's basically that uh, you know, unlike the other business families, he felt that that the business that he made money, he felt that it's not going to give him that jump later on. And he also had invested in few other companies like he had a joint venture with Mobile. So Mobile is a huge multinational company, and they came into India with a joint venture with our group, and they quit because the business environment, and the policies were not matching with them. So that was one of the biggest ventures that he got into. So there are many other ventures that he got into. So that's the kind of thought process that he had in his 90s and 2000s.
Got it. And you stepped into leadership at Bridgeway Group at a very young age. What was that transition like for you personally? And
I had to join the leadership at the top level just after doing probably 2 years or 3 years working for one of our companies, predominantly because even before I joined business as such or working as such, the founder had my dad had moved away from business. He was predominantly only involved in one or two businesses, but rest of the businesses he had left the interest, and he had given charge to his partners or his CEOs and rest of the people. I'm the first member of the second generation. So when I came in, he was not there actually. So I was actually sucked into that position very early. That's just because of his absence, because he at a point of time decided to get into social activities, and then he became a politician. So he left business and he became completely a social worker with very little connection to business. So that's why I was sucked into it. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how deep we will go into different of these things, but I keep telling to my people who is close to me, saying that I'm actually not a second generation, or none of my brothers and cousin sisters are second generation business people. We are actually one and a half. because half of them is the assets and the companies that we own and the principles and the culture that they have set in, but half is left behind because we have not worked under our first generation from day one. It's all been given to us and then asked us to manage. It's a very highly delegated, highly empowered situation. So we have those challenges and the advantages of it.
So, what were some of the big decisions you took once you took over the group CEO role?
As usual, finding out the right people, finding out who are the dolphins and sharks in terms of who's going to eat me and who's going to swim along with me. Finding out those people were the first task that I had, and aligning, giving out a plan and then seeing who's going to contribute to it gave me a lot of insight into who's going to be a shark and who's going to be a dolphin to me. So in that sense, there was a lot of restructuring done in that level, on the top level. It took so some of the companies lost momentum because of that. That's something that we were prepared to do it, but then yeah, looking back, it was a very painful journey for me. Yeah. So, but then some of them clicked and some of them didn't click. So that was one of the things that I did much early on, and few things that very few. I mean, I think one company had to close down because I didn't see any future. We were in cassette duplication. So, for example, the tape recorder cassette duplication business, we used to take the rights for recording and distribution of audio cassettes. So that business didn't have any future unless you invested multiple $1 million into discs, CDs, which were already getting into obsolete state. So we decided we're going to quit that business. So other than that, this was my main challenge when I took over.
Your background is in mechanical engineering, as you mentioned. So, where do you see the influence of that background in the way that you lead today?
Very early on, as I was discussing with my dad during my these discussion what to learn and what not to learn, it was very clear that mechanical engineer was, we decided on doing that just to bring logic into my thinking process. That's it. So we were not very focused on saying that, okay, this is mechanical engineering, you're going to get into mechanical industry, nothing like that. Even though we have got a few of the companies that is into mechanical, it was very basically mechanical engineering is one of the basics of engineering, and engineering gives you a lot of logic, a lot of structured thoughts into your mind, and that is the main agenda why I got into mechanical engineering, and that is also my strong suit in terms of thinking strategically. In that strategic thinking, how do we do it logically is what I think about.
So, your company Bridgeway, it operates across the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, India, and Kenya. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned leading across such diverse markets and cultures?
The fundamental process what we go through is, if you want to expand into a new business or a new geography, now we don't do much of diversification into different businesses, but we do a lot of diversification into geographic areas. One thing is very key for us is people. We hire the right people for that right, and if you don't find the right people, we don't get into that business at all or geographical expansion at all. So our primary area of focus is to find the right people. So we sometimes, if we get into geographical areas where we are new, we find anchors. We find people who are going to be with us for a longer period of time, so that we can complement the other areas, other weakness of us, that particular person, with people who can come and go. But one person or two people, maximum two or three, would stay there for a long time and give us that anchoring for a few years. So that's the terms and conditions that we set in when we get into a geographical area.
And Javed, do you have any brothers and sisters that could have been potential heirs to the business?
Oh, yes, we have got. I've got three siblings and a few cousins who are already in the business. So we have seven of us who are already in the business, and each of
Okay.
the business have got a family member attached to it, along with the CEOs or general managers, depending on the size of the businesses. And for example, my cousin sister manages a company which is into Royal Enfield distribution. My brothers manage. One of them manages a logistic business. One of them manages, education and automobile dealership. So the different people manages different businesses, and everything is run independently. They report to the board on a quarterly basis, and they internally have got structures where they meet on a monthly, weekly basis, depending on how that company wants to go. And we, as such, we as a board member, the family board in business, we meet every Wednesday, 2:30 Dubai time. Wherever we are in the world, we have got a spare day also. If Wednesday doesn't work for any one of us, we meet on Saturdays. But Wednesday 2:30 we meet. There is an rotation of businesses which presents their quarterly numbers. So every Wednesday we meet, and that's how we talk business. Other than that, we avoid talking businesses and we stick to more casual talkings when we meet. But this is a very formal stance which we take when we meet on Wednesdays.
I met you a couple of weeks ago in Dubai, and you realized that one of your neighbors has done OPM with us,
Yes.
was in our class as well. And so, talk to me about that interaction. Where you did not realize initially that you were living so close to someone who was in the same class as you.
That's quite common to me. So I'm not surprised within myself that that has happened. I'm a very introvert person in that sense. I mingle with very few people that I know. Rajan, for to make it even more interesting, his family, I mean, his parents have lived uh, three houses away from me in a compound which I was living maybe from 2004 till 2019. So there were three houses away, and still I didn't know them. My wife would definitely knows them, but I didn't know. So my social interactions and my interactions are very limited to few people. So that's how I have always been, and I'm quite okay with it, and uh, I don't uh, feel sorry about it to myself. Meeting Rajan and then getting to know him and his family during that dinner conversation was really really interesting. And I think that's the first time that I spoke to you, even not from OPM. Even though in OPM you were very 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 vocal, very very social. I didn't get a chance to meet you there, so I got a chance to meet you in person and in a little bit of detail during that dinner, a small dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then there was also Sumit. I believe he stayed very close to you as well.
Yeah, actually, Sumit. Interestingly, Sumit is also partnered with my cousin, and I knew only just few weeks back before we got into opium that Sumit is there in JG. I introduced my cousin to a common friend, and that particular common friend is actually a colleague of Sumit. So they got along 2 years back, and I didn't know about it. Yeah, so
Mhm.
there are different stories like that in my life.
How has your interaction been with both of them, Rajan and Sumit, post OPM? Now that you mentioned, how you were before OPM, can you tell us about how it's been?
Yeah, so Sumit and myself, Sumit is a very, very health-oriented person. So he drags me along for his evening cycling or walking and stuff like that. Rajan is so we have talked to Rajan, and then we'll start off three of us together. Join going for a walk or cycling once we are back after vacation, and then I think we're going to meet very often from now onwards.
Why did you apply to OPM? And how did you hear about OPM?
I've heard of OPM much before. I've done Harvard executive education, I think 15 years back. So my agenda was not to take an MBA right after my engineering. That's what was very, very clear right from the beginning. I would pick up a few subjects that I require expertise, and then I would go for the executive education. And then I felt was that I haven't done few of those things for a very long time. Maybe for 5 8 years, I haven't done anything. So I thought, okay, let's go for the whole thing, and then let's get it done. So I knew opium much before, and then I decided, okay, it's the right time to do it, and then uh, I jumped into it. Actually, one of my friend was supposed to join me, who was a very close friend of mine, but then he had some family issues and he couldn't join. But I think he's joining for the next year in 2026. He'll be there in OPM, hopefully.
Was there a specific session or a professor or a framework that surprised you and stayed with you even post OPM?
I think for me, the whole OPM itself is a takeaway. I was talking to a few of my colleagues and saying we didn't have these kind of professors teaching us while we were very young. The kind of methodology that the pedagogy that they used to teach us in Harvard is very very different. So back in these days in engineering, we used to spend 45 50 minutes in a class and we used to get really bored. In OPM, even though we are 40s and we're staying in one class for 1.5 hours, that is really interesting. So I think
Mhm.
that learning from different, that I think the learning methodology is what really captivated me, and I think that is one takeaway that I'm trying to implement in my companies also. How do you make it engaging when you present some new ideas to the people? I think that's one big takeaway that I think I am trying to imbibe from OPM. You need to make it very interesting and very catching to the people, to the audience that you're targeting to. So that could be any ideas that you have or something that you're trying to do. Getting that buy-in through these techniques is something that I've taken from OPM.
What are some habits or routines that have kept you grounded despite leading such a large organization?
I think right from the beginning we have been taught that money doesn't make you as a person. So money will come and go, the name will come and go, but you as a person have to build relationship based on other than these two things, with people around you, with the society around you, and that is what is always lingering in my mind. How do you make relationship with people without these two badges along with you, and to the counterpart also? So whomever we meet, how do you make a relationship with that particular person regardless of where or what and why that particular person is there? So that is something which is an ongoing process, and that actually makes it easier to connect with people and to be, kind of, people call it grounded, people call it humility, but I think this is the idea behind it, to understand people from where they are, understanding their perspectives. And, it's not agreeing to many of this. It is just understanding, acknowledging it, and finding commonalities in those things. So so different religions have got different thought processes. But if you go to every religion and you dig deeper, no, you don't need to dig deeper and deeper. You just need to go to the second or third level. You will find commonalities there. So that is something which has kept me grounded, I suppose.
Is there any book that has significantly influenced your leadership or your worldview?
I'm not a big reader, but my advantage is that I talk to people who reads a lot. I keep them as my friends and my company, in my company very for a very long time. So there are my families, close family members who reads a lot. My father-in-law reads a lot. My close friends reads a lot. So what my job is to keep up with them, contribute to those conversations, so that I get benefited out of them, and they also get benefit out of my experience. That is what how I have managed to get most out of the books.
What values guide you when you are making some difficult decisions?
I mean, how to be fair, how to be fair to yourself, to your company, to your society, to the suppliers, or to the stakeholders. How to have that win-win situation.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs that are just starting out, trying to lead across multiple markets?
I think you have to be passionate about it. Being passionate about it, and then sticking to your thought process, and then changing along with it. Change is always a constant, so you have to know that when you're passionate about, also need to know that when to change, and that also depending on your style. I'll give you an example of how I have thought of what how I my style is. I keep telling people close to me. So in Indian context, 10th grade exams is one of the what do you say, one of the most challenging part in your learning curriculum. So how have you passed that 10th grade? What was your mindset? What was your learning style? So if you look from there, and how did your 12th grade go? How did your college go? So if you look at those trends of life, you would see that you have a kind of a goal, you have challenges, and what was your style? It would have changed a little bit, but there will be some core things that you have kept, and that would have continued in your career, in your personal life also. So finding that passion of what business that you want to do, finding out your own style, believing in it, and believing it is also that there has to be some changes as you grow, as the company grows, as your family grows. So understanding that dynamics is very important when you start a company.
Amazing. Thank you, Jabir. You've been very forthcoming. We appreciate this. I also see you reached your destination, unless it's a very long signal.
No, 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 no. I've reached my destination.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate your time. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.